Namaskar.
I'm here with Dharmadevji. Tell us how you got involved with Ananda Marga and sadhana.
Um, I got interested in yoga when I was about 16 actually, and I was living in a rural town, Tamworth, and I came across the first Simply Living magazine, which had an advert for Ananda Marga, and that stuck in my mind until I was 18 and I left home. Might have been a bit later than that actually, and I got a job in Sydney, and the words Ananda Marga came up in my mind, and I went to Dimick's bookshop and I found A Guide to Human Conduct, and I read that, and then pretty well the next day I went to the sectorial office in Newtown and pretty well said, here I am, can I learn meditation? So I learnt Bhavanam Kevalam, and I didn't get initiated till about 3 months afterwards, but I already moved into the Jagrati about a month after I met Ananda Marga. I moved into the Jagrati and started practicing meditation, and took it from there. So I pretty well jumped into the whole thing straight away.
Right, and how long before you met Baba and what was that like?
Oh, that was not till 1986. And that's an interesting story, because what happened was that the SS came to Auckland. I was living in Auckland then, Paratoshananda I think it was, and he said, if you go to India tomorrow, you'll get PC, personal contact. And I said, okay, I'll do that. And somehow the money got scraped together for a ticket, and they had a bakery there. Sisters had a bakery, they helped me out with the money, and so I pretty well went on the flight the next day. And then I ended up in India, through Delhi, and then to Calcutta. And next day I lined up for this kind of parade that, you know, you might get picked for PC. And they were saying, oh, normally it'll take 3 months or something like this, and I thought that's ridiculous. So I said to him, well, I was told that if I come to India straight away I'll get PC, so what's the story? And he said, okay, sit under the stairs there. And I knew it was coming because I felt really vibrated. And then they called me up for PC. So I got the PC like virtually the day after I arrived, which was pretty interesting. People said you could never do that, but it happened. And so yeah, I got PC and I met Baba there in the room, and it was a really interesting conversation actually. It was quite long actually. It was about 15 minutes at least, and because he asked me all these questions. I was just finished my law degree, so he asked me all these questions about the legal systems in different countries of the world, and it wasn't that easy actually, because they're very twisted questions actually.
Do you remember any of the questions?
Yeah. He was asking about the difference between the different Supreme Courts of the world, between the US one and the House of Lords, which was then called, all these kind of things. But they all had a particular twist to them, and he really had to think pretty hard actually. And so that went on for a good 5 minutes or something, and it was like an exam actually, oral exam. It didn't feel like, I didn't feel any nervous or anything, but you know, it was really hard to concentrate and find these answers that he's asking. But it was really. But the thing is, what I felt was it was quite an intimate exercise actually, and it was like Baba was a real gentleman actually. Like it was really like really like friend to friend almost, like, and like that. So it was quite an intimate exercise, and you know, it was really nicely done actually.
Mate with mate.
Yeah, pretty well. And so you know, I kind of liked that, and that was interesting. And then he said a few things about what I should learn more about, and he mentioned constitutional law. But then actually years later, that came to me that that's not necessarily the constitutions of countries, but that's actually the constitutions of Ananda Marga. And that's what I actually got into. I fixed up quite a few constitutions of Ananda Marga around the world. So that's, you know, you can have this idea that maybe he means this at the time, but in practice when it actually happens, it's something quite different. And still quite fulfilling actually. So I felt a lot of inspiration in that way, and gave me a lot of satisfaction, and also did quite some good actually.
Any other experiences you want to share?
Yeah, I had reporting with Baba, and that was interesting. Like it was a book to be done reporting, and that was the geography kind of era or phase. I learnt that Baba was quite interested in geography, and in these reporting sessions he would ask people lots of questions about geographical features of their country or their state, and so we had reporting. I think it went for a good few hours actually, at least 2 hours, because I remember when it was finished it was very quiet in the streets of Calcutta. It was like definitely midnight. So we'd start off with singing some Prabhat Sangeet and maybe 3, 4 even like that, and then he would talk some things, and then he would pick some Margis, often one brother and one sister, certainly the case in my reporting, and he would ask them all these questions about geography, and I thought this is pretty strange, but so he would. I remember he picked one brother from Texas, I think his name was Jitendra, and he asked him all these questions about the geographical features of Texas and the coastline, all these sort of things. A good number of questions. I think there were at least 15, 20, and they were just coming pretty fast. And the interesting thing is that even though he was from there, he couldn't answer many of the questions because they're also, again, quite cryptic actually. So like funny questions like, how far is it from this place to the coast by way the crow flies? So it's very hard to answer that kind of question. And then also very niggly questions like, what is the difference between marine and maritime climate? So, you kind of do learn these things in high school, but when you put on the spot to actually explain them, it's not that easy. And he found it very difficult. But the good thing was that it was very entertaining, actually. It was quite funny. And again, it created this very intimate experience, certainly for Jitendra, because I felt, you could see him. He was really getting involved in it, even though he couldn't answer the questions, and it was really absorbing for him. So I think Baba must have done this a lot of times with Margis. Like, he put them in difficult situations to explain things where they can't really explain it very well, but they get a nice feeling, doing it, attempting it. And that, I think, must have been one of his...
the object of the exercise.
Yeah, one of his special kind of things that he would do to people. And I think a lot of people, from what I understand, actually went through that. And they actually quite liked it, even though they knew they pretty well failed the session. So, that was really interesting, actually. And then the sister, she was from Indonesia, and she had to explain all about the volcanoes and the different soils and everything like that, and whether they were active or not. And she probably did a little bit better than Jitendra, but not much. And, again, I could see she was feeling quite vibrated about it, actually. So that's the kind of game that Baba played in these reporting sessions. And there was, a good, I'd say a good 50 people there easily, because it was very crowded. The hall was very crowded. And they were all kind of, the spectators of the drama. And afterwards, I quickly talked to Jitendra, and I got the feeling that what Baba really wanted out of it was that we should have both the holistic view and the detailed view, because that's the way practically we have to work in the world. And
know the forest and the trees. Know about the forest and the trees.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and know how to get through the trees by having a good map in front of you. And I think that's what Baba was trying to do. Like geography is like a map, and you work your way through life, and you understand the path as you're walking along it. And this is the same with Ananda Marga, I think. You understand the path, and you gain a lot of things in the path from small incidents, but at the same time the path is like a much bigger thing, and you try to understand the whole the whole spiritual path as well. Oh, there was one special incident actually. Yes, because when I got my ticket to India, it was at least a 2-3 week ticket, and we just had a second child then, and so I was thinking I should just get back to Australia, but my ticket was not for that date, and so in the morning I just decided to get up and catch the train to the airport. I had no idea what I was doing actually, and I just hoped that something would happen, that I could change my ticket. And what happened was that an old man came up to me after I got off the bus and took my suitcase, and he walked me to the counter and explained everything to the person at the checkout counter about...
You'd already told him, hadn't you?
I hadn't told him anything actually. I just said to him that when I get to the airport, because the bus was a little bit of a walk from the airport, he took me there, and I want to change my ticket to get to Australia. Why I even said that to him, I don't know. But he just took my suitcase, so I thought, well, this is, must be something useful for me to tell him, and that's what I told him. And he took my case, and he took me to the counter, and he started chatting to the staff there, and he arranged my complete ticket actually. And then the guy at the counter handed me the ticket, and then when I looked around, the old person had already gone. So it was Barbara in another form. Yeah. And then I got back to Australia very simply, which I could never probably have done myself actually. That was like a very special experience actually.
Rather touching, right? He went to all that trouble.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, what are you doing now? You're still practicing law?
No, yeah, in a way. I work for the Australian government. I work for the communications regulator, called the Australian Communications and Media Authority.
In Canberra?
Yeah, I'm a subject expert there on radio communications and satellite technology and law. So that's a pretty interesting area, and I've been doing that for 26 years actually. I don't need to work. I could retire, but somehow my mind can't retire yet. I'll get round to it.
Okay, Dharma Jay, Stu, thank you very much for sharing that.
Yeah. Okay, namaskar.